look like any character that we may be familiar with.
Right, right. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. We'll put a little stubble here.
Attaboy.
There we go. Stubble's in these days anyway. All right.
That's great.
Okay.
Now he looks villainous, but that's okay, because today's heroes, many of them are rugged and
That's the
they
ambiguous
don't look
hero.
all that hero.
And I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
We'll get the bigger marker and we'll give him a superpower. Yeah, he can energize his fist. I don't know with what, but and we'll put here these. I call these Kirby crackles. I think he guys started. It creates the illusion or aura of energy.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
And you can just go on for these forever. I mean, there are people that just will spend hours on this. But since we don't have hours, that's the shorthand here. And to make it seem like there is some movement where he's coming forward, I'm going to have this sort of trail back. See?
Oh, so you know the hand had come from
Right,
there.
right. And there's ways, if there was a guy here and he had walked through the room and he's smoking a cigarette, I'll show that smoke waft through back. And so you can tell that story. You can show that he moved through the room without actually drawing.
It's interesting, Jim, the way you referred to this as shorthand, and this is shorthand. And in comic books, there are so many shorthand things that you do, these little dots and lines and speed lines that can tell a whole story without having to explain it.
Right.
I just felt I had to contribute something. A little funny
no, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you distill it, all it is ciphers. You know, because there's no way you can replicate reality here, nor would you want to. Anyway, all right, now we got I'll jump to the villain because since I've already mapped in the background, I don't have to worry that it's going to work or not.
You know it'll fit.
I know it's going to work. I think. So okay, we'll give the evil guy the villain a cape too. That way I don't have to draw as much of him. And,
that's right, because the cape hides a lot of the body.
You got it.
Smart.
Right, and you know what? I think I'll even have the cape. Not that I would recommend kids to do this, right? But you know, make it move like that.
And from this comes 8.2 million sales, right?
Well, there are a lot of people that helped. You know, Chris Claremont, the writer, and the whole Marvel marketing machine. You know, Marvel's very successful in the comics marketplace. They know what they're doing.
You get your payoff later.
Right.
Now this is the villain who's got the girl.
Right, and you know what? We're going to give him a lot of armor.
Because he is one powerful villain.
Right, gauntlet, and we'll give him a couple spikes here to give the impression, a little fearsome aspect here. All right, and then, I could cheat here and just give him a big bubble for a head or something, but
no, you're not going to do
that.
Okay,
right.
Not with millions of people watching this tape.
Okay. Since it's a smaller drawing, I'll go to a finer pen here to do the detail on this guy's face here. But let's do that, and because we're in the '90s and it's a little hipper, we'll give him a ponytail, and what I really think makes for successful comics is pushing things to the extreme, like taking it over the top, taking things to the logical extreme. If there's a villain, he's got a ponytail. That hair should be blown in the wind, you know, and it should be longer than humanly possible or sanitarily possible. So we'll give the guy
or cosmetically possible.
Right. And then we'll give him this evil grimace.
I hope the camera can catch that. I hope that's dark enough, because that's really coming along beautifully.
Kind of. Okay.
Now, in comics, when you draw, even though the books are in color, you draw in black and white, right?
Right.
All our artists work in black and white, and then the coloring is done later by someone else, usually by someone else.
And because he's a villain, we'll give him a mask or something like that.
Villains really very often have masks, don't they? That's another bit of shorthand.
No. Right.
You know they're a villain.
That's right.
Unless it's a hero with a mask, then you totally confuse the reader.
Okay.
And villains also have big thighs, huh?
Big thighs, big boots.
Makes them powerful.
Big egos.
Right.
That's why they always lose. Sounds good to me.
That's your psychological training.
That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Now we got the damsel in distress
here. Oh
yeah,
I'm waiting to see her.
And let's say she's the
Press
secretary.
down hard enough so that everybody can see her.
Right.
We're waiting for her.
All right.
Get a nice dark pen.
All right. We'll make her the secretary of this guy.
Uh-huh.
Whose secret identity, I guess, he's a businessman, and this is his secretary.
He looks like your typical businessman.
That's right,
no doubt about that.
And he's secretly in love with her.
You not only draw the picture, you get a whole story in your mind when you do it.
Well,
that's the best. That's the best.
I think the more successful artists will think more than just I'm going to draw this guy's story or whatever. They're gonna put more of their own personality into it and what they think would be neat in the story.
I notice you have the villain miming. You're putting a little of your personality in.
Okay, and then she's gonna have this mini dress here.
Well, there she is. You've almost got her.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
And then I'm gonna take this pen so I can do the finer detail of her face. I'll give her sort of a 90s short little bob there. Some earrings. She's got these lines too.
That's great.
Okay, and then, all right.
So you were able to do it. You've got the hero over here in the foreground.
Right.
You have, oh, I didn't want to interrupt you. You want to darken his ponytail.
Right, right. And then I'm going to put this window here.
Uh-huh.
And of course, most skyscrapers, well, at least some of them, you can't open the window. So we'll establish part of the story right now. We'll say, look,
he broke the window.
Absolutely.
Attaboy.
There we go. We'll put the glass
he's strong.
in here.
Even though it's unbreakable,
Right.
this guy can break it.
Right. And the thing about, I tell kids is be observant of everything. If you're in a dentist's office, look at it and try to remember what a dentist's office looks like, because you'll have to draw a dentist's office someday, and it's hard to find that kind of reference. You can just pull it from memory.
They're too busy trembling.
Right. So if I see broken glass or something like that, or a car that's destroyed, I'll look at it and see what kind of shapes and how the glass will break and the lines that you get out of that.
Well, you're known for your broken glass. And now I can see why.
And of course, you got to, to make it, you got to make it realistic.
The glass has to be on
right,
the floor.
Right.
Some would have
naturally,
fallen in,
right. Some outside,
Right.
Whatever. Okay, so we put some glass here, and then we'll put a table here in the middle ground, which is,
Basically, what you're talking about as you talk, as you draw, these are pretty much the thoughts that would go through a comic book artist's mind as he draws the strip then.
Mm-hmm. You got to supply all the background stuff. Mm-hmm. You got to supply
to make it look real.
You're the costumer, director, props guy. You have an unlimited budget. You just have time constraints. That's what it comes down to.
Now let me ask you, talking about making things look real, what do you think makes, there are so many comics, some do better than others. What makes a successful comic? What's the difference?
I think it's putting the thought and care into it. A lot of people just want to draw heroes, or they just want to draw women, and they'll slough off on the backgrounds, or slough off on the storytelling, and you got to care about every aspect.
It's all got to be good.
Yeah, and I think all the guys that are very successful at it are the ones that have the passion to put the time in on every aspect of it. To the broken glass on the ground, and if I in the next panel I do a reverse shot of this, I'm going to make sure the backgrounds are as close as I can get to it. You just don't want to be sloppy with it, and you want to have that dynamic feel.
Well, you know what might be interesting also. I think if we could grab another sheet of board now.
Sure.
Although I know you want to show off how you draw skyscrapers in the background.
Well, let me hear your idea first, and then I'll stop.
It would be cute if you could draw two little panels.
Right.
One, what you might call the right way, and the other the wrong way. In other words, why is one successful and the other is just a drawing?
Right.
Now, I can't think of any particular pose at the moment. Maybe you can think of one. You're not going to let go of this. You're going to finish this.
No. While you're talking, I'm listening.
All right, I want you to be thinking also.
Right.
Okay?
Right. I'm thinking
now,
already.
On the next sheet, when you finish this,
right.
And after you've autographed it so that I can fight with everybody else to get it, on the next sheet, I want you to think of some very simple scene that you could draw quickly, and draw one version of it that would be adequate for most any other comic book company and with any other comic book artist, but then show how you would do it to make it really a powerful scene.
Right.
Can you do that, or am I asking?
No. I know exactly. I can do something.
I finally met somebody who understands what I said. That's really great.
Anyway.
Hey, that is really great.
Actually, to make it seem like there's glass here is a little technique.
Attaboy.
There we go.
And obviously, it's a modern building, so this is the built-in fluorescent lighting that's right in the ceiling.
Right, and I would put one there, but I think the word balloon would go there. So,
Okay.
or maybe we'll go here.
You know what everybody would like to see, says he cagily? How do you sign your name? People would love to see your signature, because when I steal this, I want it to be on there.
All right. How's that?
It's very legible.
Okay.
Okay, and people will have to kill to get this from me.
Okay.
Now, let's see what that next one is going to be.
Two panels, okay. Bum, bum, bum.
One is going to be adequate, you know, the kind that you might find that your beginning artist might do. And one will be a Jim Lee type.
Actually, you know, like we were talking earlier,
What is it we're showing?
I'm going to have two guys talking to each other, okay?
All right.
It's a boring scene.
Right.
It's a talk scene.
Unless they're you and me, of course.
Absolutely. In this one, it's going to be very clear what's happening and everything, but it's not a shot, it's not an artistically pleasing shot. This one I'm going to play around with and create a little more depth in it and play around with the mood and put those little extra things which make those panels better.
gotcha.
Right. And actually, I picked this all up from the book you did with John Buscema, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And so there's nothing real new here, but
it's fun to see it.
okay, do your panel borders. Okay.
You're also known for your borders, I might add.
What am I not known for? All right. Okay, so let's say we got
For being in a bad mood, I think.
All right. We got
Now, these are the two men talking.
right. You got a cigar here.
Now, it looks like he's standing. Is he leaning on a table?
Yeah, he's leaning. This is because it's so small. It's just going to be a little shorthand.
Fine.
here.
So we're really talking layout. We're going to see a good layout and a bad layout. Or inadequate layout.
Right. Well, this isn't awful. It certainly tells what's going on. It's very clear and everything. And actually, you might even want to do a panel like this to start with to establish a scene. I wouldn't do a whole story.
It quietly.
Right. I wouldn't do a whole story at this depth, which is a medium shot, at this kind of angle, which is straight on. But whatever.
Well, now I'm going to tell you something. I find that when an artist is really as good and as adept as you, it is very difficult to draw something that isn't good. Because even though you're considering this fairly simple and uninteresting, I mean, that's really a beautiful layout, you know? It's concise, it's well balanced. But all right, now let's see how you're going to do to make it exciting.
All right, I guess basically his boss is bawling him out.
Yeah.
And from the gestures, I don't get that sense. You know, you might have written that the fat boss is bawling out his underling here.
Who is standing like this.
Right, and this
taking it.
adequately takes it. It tells the story, but it doesn't convey some of the emotional stuff that you want to carry through in your story. So in this one, I'm going to have the boss in the foreground. He's going to be much larger in the image, and he's going to be leaning in on the guy.
The baller is going to be much bigger than the ballee.
Right, and you can see I like to do a lot of stuff where I'm looking right behind the shoulder kind of thing. All right.
You don't have to draw as much. Now this is going to be a Jim Lee bawling out.
Right.
I mean, we're going to feel the pain of that guy who's being bawled out, right?
Right.
And of course, he's got a cigar with a lot of smoke coming out.
I don't know if when you're writing and stuff, whether you like sound out the sound effects or whatever. Because like when I'm drawing, I go, you know, whatever, and I always make the grimace of the character. So when I'm drawing,
absolutely,
yeah,
I make even though I'm not drawing it, I'm making fate. My wife comes in all the time and says, "What's happening in here?" She hears the noises.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, and then he's got. And then this guy, to show that he's being flustered here, I'll have him reach in on his collar there. So he's got his finger in here.
Trying to loosen his collar because it's getting very tight all of a sudden.
It's getting tight. He feels the pressure. Hot in there. Yeah, absolutely, and the smoke is all over the place. And
that smoke is another little bit of your little shorthand.
Right. And I'll play with it and let it trail around like it's a living thing here. Because usually smoke just goes straight up. It's pretty boring. But you can take a license. You can take license with it and go, oh, okay, it's going to snake around like this.